Good day. In front of you, it's Theofrida Maginga from Sokoine University of Agriculture. And today we're going to have a session that will talk about knowledge, information, and communication, and also information sharing among the experts, among the users, and among the farmers. So this is all about agricultural information sharing, and also we'll look at the digital tools that are suitable for generating information and as well as telling stories that are pertaining to agricultural practices. And from this session, you will learn a bit about the history of Web 2 and Web 1, how it has come about, and as well, we'll navigate around different ICT tools. So from the end of the session, you'll be able to identify some of these tools that you can use to generate information and also share information. And also, you'll be able to practice together some of the Google tools, and these tools are freely available, such as Gmail, Google Drive, and Google Site, and as well as apply those tools when you want to share information. So a bit of a background. Why ICT tools in sharing agricultural information? Because technology has gone very far and it is being applicable in different aspects such as banking. You use applications such as M-Pesa. This is all digital tools. But why do we need to leave agricultural information behind? This is the reason why we need to adapt to some of these ICT tools. And mostly people are using this information to make sure that you can share with people who are remotely. So before we dive into some of these tools, the technology has been advancing over the years. So during the 1990s, there was a whole technological concept that is called Web 1.0. So during the Web 1.0, a user was able to create information or an organization or institution, and when they share this information, it was only one way of sharing information. You cannot send the information back. You cannot send the feedback. And then when we moved to 2000 years of 2000 at around maybe 2025 right now we have the Web 2.0. This is the era where technology has advanced. Even the tools that are being used are even more advanced and collaborative in a way that when a user creates an information or they provide a story or they share a certain information, also other people can provide feedback on that particular information, and even they can even correct that information. So the technology has advanced to that point that it gives a chance for everyone to be able to share this information. So you, as an expert in an agricultural information area, you ought to understand some of the tools that can be used includes the wikis. You have come across something called Wikipedia online, and Wikipedia is a source of information for many people. You can choose any topic of your interest. Maybe you want to talk about the irrigation types or irrigation schemes in Tanzania. So you can write information about how irrigation schemes is being done in the country. And then someone else will look at those information and they will be able to also approve on those details that you put out there. You also need to include the sources. But not only the wikis as a source of information, we have blogs. You have come across something called Millardayo or any similar or medium blogs. So these blogs are channels of giving information about a certain topic. It could be a story about how you managed extension services in the areas around maybe Ifakara in Morogoro, Tanzania. So you can use that channel to generate or to share a story to the whole world to see and to understand how the extension services are going on in Tanzania. But not only that, we have social media channels. You're aware of Instagram, you're aware of Twitter, you're aware of LinkedIn, you're aware of Facebook. All these channels are being used to share information with pictures accompanying those information. And as well, we have something called social media bookmarking. So if you see an information, you bookmark that information so that later on you can use that information. And as well, we have the RSS. So we will dive in right into different tools and how they're being used. So to start with, we'll start with wikis. Wikis is more collaborative. When I say collaborative, I mean you need to have other people look at that information. You're not the only one who is going to generate that information. Why? Because most times, in most cases, we need information to be approved and to be validated. So when you are an information expert and you're in a certain area, if you want to talk about farming activities in Tanzania, you need people who are going to also validate that information. So Wikis is one of the channel or is one of the digital tools that you can use to share such information. And also, the next tool that I think we should also take attention to is blogs. And blogs is a bit less formal. When I say a bit less formal, I mean that you can tell a story, and through a story someone can learn about how should you start sowing, or how should you put a certain crop into the market. If someone has an experience on how they started harvesting and they took that crop to the market, a blog is the right channel for you to share that kind of information, tell people a story, how you got the transport, how you got the price for that particular crop. And then the next tool that you can use or that you can take advantage of as an information expert in agricultural setting is RSS feeds. So with RSS feeds, this is more institutionalized, is a more formal way of capturing information. So for most cases, you might find universities like Sokoine University of Agriculture or Ministry of Agriculture, they have monthly information. So for example, there are prices of crops that are being shared in every month. So you subscribe to those newsletters and then you get access to those information. And then with those information, you can make decisions. Apart from the tools that I've already talked about, we also have podcasts and videos. So podcasts is the more advanced way of sharing information or discussing different practices in agricultural farming settings. Maybe we have a general concept of like smart farming. So with podcasts, you can use audio settings. Sometimes people don't want to read text. Sometimes people want to listen and hear. So podcast is the right channel as an information expert or somebody who is a stakeholder of agriculture. You can choose to use podcast channels, have conversations with the farmers, with the experts, with the researchers, and share that information to the general public. But also with videos, you can use YouTube to share those information. When you share information via YouTube, it's more of videos, it's more of moving pictures and showing exactly what is going on in the farm. So you might find a need to combine all of these tools together so that you can make sure that the message that you're trying to deliver to your users is a complete information and an information that makes sense, and that also it's easily adaptable. So you choose between one of those two or one of those tools that you have. But in this particular session, we'll focus a bit more on Google Tools, and Google Tools is one of the products that is widely known channels of sharing information. I will be able to demonstrate them in this session. You can use Gmail, you can use Google Drive, and you can use Google Sites. So with Gmail, you can send formal communication. With Google Drive, you can share files, you can share details with your teammates, and also with Google Sites, you are able to share knowledge or to create a site that other people can come and see about the story or a certain projects that you're doing in any particular area. So we'll dive right into the demonstration of these tools, and then we'll get to understand what tools could be best for your scenario. So I am going to show how you can use Gmail as a tool to communicate information. What you need is to have a Google account, and you will sign into your account. When you sign into your account, it will take you straight to the account that you're using, and you choose one of the products, which is going to be Gmail. So with Gmail, you can share information to your users, or you can communicate a certain information. You need to write compose and then put in an address. After you put in an address, so address will be an email of someone that you're sending an information to. And then after, you can CC. CC is carbon copy. And in this case, you're copying that information, and as well, you can do the BCC. So this is blind copy. You're just copying to someone so that someone else does not see. But also a proper way to write your email is also starting with a subject. What is the topic that you want to try and communicate to the user or to someone that you're sharing that information? Once the subject is already done and set, you go next to the greetings. You have to formally greet the one that you're sharing that information to. You don't start with an email from anywhere. And then after greetings, you give a context, maybe as per previous communication, as per previous discussion, or a context of how is this email coming about. And then after, you share the email body. What is the message that you want to share to your user? And then you go to ending of that particular communication. So you can schedule sending, you can send later, tomorrow. You don't have to send it at right time so you don't forget, or you can hit send. And that is as simple as you can share an information via Gmail. Our very next tool on Google Tools and sharing information is going to be Google Drive. So with the very same Gmail account, you can go to Google Drive products and then you click Drive. After Drive, then you can select New. So with New, you either choose to create a new file or you create a new folder. So in this case, we are creating a new file, or in this case, we're just going to create a new Google document. So with a Google document, it's almost the same as the Word document, but this one, in this example, you can use to write a report. And for example, maybe you have gone to an extension services and then you want to write a report to your supervisor. So you have a file with a name called maybe extension visit report. And then with that document, you write the content of what was happening in the field. You can write everything. It has the room to give you option to put details, to put tables, to align your document the way that you want to align it. And then you are willing to share. You're able to share that information. So with the sharing, you can share with an email of somebody that you know or your supervisor, or you can share your email, your file with the community, but it has restriction. Restrictions in the sense that you don't share your information to anyone that is not supposed to know about that information. So also there is an option where they can become the commenter or they become an editor. Or you can as well just choose to share that information to anyone with a link or anyone in your community. But in this case, you have to also be certain that after I'm writing this report, who am I going to share this information with, to make sure that privacy is taken into consideration, especially for the institutional report. And when you are sharing and you have decided this one is going to be the editor, you also have to notify those people that you are sharing that information to. Tell them this is what I want to do, or I am sharing this information with you, or I'm sharing this report with you. After you have written your messages, you have decided who that person is going to be, and then you can click send. So it will appear to another person as an email, and then they will get access to that particular report. So that is how you can easily share information or write report in a collaborative manner in an institute. Another digital tool that we are going to look today is called Google Site. And Google Site is one of the products that is under the Google company. So you go straight to the products and then you select sites. After you select, you will see templates. Templates are like form of examples of how you can start your project. So with the Google Site, you can choose any template that you want, the one that you can build your project on top of that. So it will open an example of a site. When you look at that site, you will see there are different sectors or blocks of a site that you can put your information. So you choose to put a project name. So in this case, we'll put ICT class, and the name reflects what your project is going to be about. And then you put a specific project name. So in this case, we did put an extension service. So we give information to people about the extension services that we are providing. So you as an expert, you say about what kind of service are you providing to your users. And you put a little bit of a description of what are the extension services that you give. So let's say this project is provided by the Sokoine University of Agriculture, or is being hosted by the Sokoine University of Agriculture. You need to put that information out there to your website because that is what you want your users to see. And then you also add the mission of the project. So in this particular template of a website that we're generating today, we'll say maybe to support and to educate farmers through our extension services. And then you add locations. So locations could be regions that you're providing that services. So we put Morogoro, and then you put Dodoma, and then you put Rukwa, and as well as you put another region that you're providing these services. So, and also you can add description. So descriptions are there. You just simply tap, and also you can change images. It does not necessarily have to be images that are already there in the template, but you can replace those images and put the images that reflects better to your site. And on the right side here, you can see there are different blocks that you can add, and as well as you can add pages. So with websites, the ones that we are already visiting or we always visit, you can have multiple pages, but it's very important to add the page where you have the contacts for your information. So you add the contact us page, whereby users can go to that page and see where they can find you or how they can find you. And with different blocks that you see on your right side, you can add maybe a map. So if this project is hosted at Sokoine University of Agriculture, then you add a location of Sokoine University of Agriculture on your contact us page. So the map will be shown here, as you can see. And not only that, you are able to add text, not only just the map. You can say maybe visit us at this location or give us a call, and you can move those details of the map. You don't have to like put it only at one side just because the template has given you an option to do so. But when you put a map, also add a description, not just put a map and leave the page to be silent. And this gives more description of what a user can do with that information. You need to be very, very specific, and you need to be very aware of what kind of users are going to visit your site. On the down part of the page, you can add more information, maybe an email, maybe a phone number, or maybe any other information that you think it reflects the contact us. Because the page, if it's about contact us, it needs to give information about the contact information. But not only that, you have options to add, to edit, to add description, however that you like, based on what kind of user is visiting your website. So another option, you can preview what you're doing. And this is the best part about a Google site. You can see exactly what will the user see. So if you look at the home page, you can see the extension service, the description of the project, the regions that we put there. They're out there, you can see them, and then you can go back to editing, and as well you can share. You can share the project so that another teammate, so you're not the only one that is working on that site. Maybe if you have another teammate who you also want them to contribute to make sure that the website is looking better, you can share with them the same way that we did in the Google Drive. And another advantage is that you can publish. And when you publish, it will give you a link. That link will be free for user to use. And when you publish it, that means it is out there to the world. It is out there for someone else to see. So you share that link. You will not be able to see the website right after that doing the publishing, but if you give it a little bit of more time, you'll be able to see the site for a user to go through your website and to go through the information that you have provided. And that is all about the Google site.